what's going on, guys? It is Rinne-Hatake here, back with another video. And today, we are gonna do this what if scenario. What if Naruto was the reincarnation of Minato, otherwise known as what if Naruto was like Minato. And, well, I'm not actually gonna be making this story on my own this time. This time I will be using something called Wattpad. So you can actually get this on the Play Store or the App Store. If you guys want to read the story that I'm gonna read to make this what if Naruto was like Minato or the reincarnation of Minato more realistic is the return of the Flash, or the Yellow Flash. You can find this on Wattpad if you guys don't know. So, let's finally begin. Naruto Uzumaki was not a normal boy by any means. Naruto Uzumaki wasn't your run-of-the-mill orphan. He was as every orphan was, without a parent. He was as every orphan was, lonely. He was as every orphan was, sad. He wasn't as almost every orphan was looked at, with pity and kindness. However, no, Naruto Uzumaki was looked at with disdain and hatred. Simply walking down the street incurred several cruel beatings. He had no idea why. He had an entire population of Konohagakure no Sato seemed to hate him. He had very few precious people. In fact, the only ones who he could name off the top of his head were Hiruzen Sarutobi, or as he had dubbed the Hokage, Gigi, Ayame, the girl who helped her father run the ramen shop, and Tayuchi, the father of said girl. It was sad, actually. A boy, his age, 5, being hated by everyone. Naruto had learnt this early on in life. He was hated in the orphanage he lived in as well. Ever since he learnt to walk on his own, the matron of the orphanage started treating him like trash. He was not allowed to play with the children of his age, and even when he managed to talk to them, they would sneer at him and told him in no certain words that a monster like him was not welcome in their group. He would get sad and then leave. Walking the streets of the village was like a trial of fire for him. He had to take careful measures to remain as unnoticeable as possible. If he got noticed, a civilian would point at him, shouting to the others, "The demon is here! Get him!" He would run for his life, entering lanes and alleys, taking a shortcut through a shop, entering from the front door, and exits from the back. Anything to escape. Anything to escape the beatings. But it was suspicious that a 4-year-old boy was able to escape from the mobs. What no one, including Naruto, knew that Naruto had some special quirks. Naruto had oh my gosh, I can't read that word. I don't know, I can't really pronounce this word. Eidetic memory. Okay, apologies if I get that wrong. Okay, apologies. Eidetic memory, the ability to remember and recall anything he sees or hears once in great detail. Naruto loved to read books, but didn't know why he could recall every page of the book down to the exact words. He found it very useful and abused it shamelessly, reading all the books he was allowed to, and then some. Without telling anyone, of course. He didn't tell this to anybody, not even Gigi, fearing if this got out, he would get beaten for having freakish traits. But he would also discover the downside of having such an ability. One day, when running from a mob, he accidentally entered an alley which had a dead end. There was no escape for him that day. He was punched, kicked on every part of his body until he fell unconscious. When he woke up, very mysteriously, in his room at the orphanage, healed up, he was very happy he did not die. However, when he tried to sleep that night, the beatings came back in full force in the form of nightmares. Because of his ability, he experienced the beatings down to the last detail. He couldn't sleep peacefully for several nights. Another one of his quirks was sort of a sensory ability. He could sense danger if it was coming to him. However, it was a subconscious ability of sorts, activating only when he was in danger. But he was very useful in avoiding punches and stones that came when his back was turned. The village in general, the village's behavior in general towards Naruto caused him to develop a positive develop a need for positive attention, but also a need to avoid people, preferring to keep to himself. He would not actively seek attention, but would latch onto latch on like a leech to anyone who gave him form of care to some form of care to him. Sadly, the number of people who did could be counted on one hand. That was the reason he turned to books. At least they didn't attack him outright and allowed him to read them. Almost no one wanted to associate with him, leading to him taking refuge in books. They became his best friends, always making him smile when he learned something new. Naruto had forced himself to learn reading, writing, as the teachers at the orphanage did as less as they could to help him. They would simply thrust the book in his hands and go away to help other children. He learned early on not to ask questions, receiving physical punishment whenever he did. He had to read about various topics, but the one thing that stood out to him was the topic of Hokage, how the Hokage was the most powerful shinobi in the village and was responsible for the village's safety. He read how powerful was the Shodai Hokage with his unique Kekkei Genkai, bloodline limit of Mokoton, the wood release. He was said to be the most powerful shinobi of his time, known as the Shinobi no Kami, the god of shinobi. Hashirama Senju, along with Madara Senju, were the two main founders of Konoha. Ironically, both were also bitter enemies, and Hashirama having to kill Madara to protect the village. The Nidaime Hokage, Tobirama Senju, was the younger brother of Hashirama. He was and is still hailed as the most powerful Suton water release user of all time. He was also hailed the fastest shinobi of his time, having created the most famous Hiraishi no Jutsu. If you guys don't know what the Hiraishi no Jutsu is, it's basically Minato's signature jutsu. He basically copied the second Hokage and it made the flying Raijin technique even stronger, so it's a better version of the flying Raijin. So that's what the Hiraishi no Jutsu is. He was the one who started the Ninja Academy. Naruto took a liking to him, as he loved anything that seemed even remotely associated with speed. The Sandaime Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, that was his Jiji, was known as the Professor because he could use all of the nature transformations and had the unsurpassed knowledge of ninjutsu, knowing all the techniques in Konoha, save for clan techniques. He also shared the title of Shinobi no Kami with Hashirama because in his prime he was the strongest of all Kage. Naruto was astounded how powerful was the man he called his Gigi. Sarutobi was also the sensei of the Dynasty no Sanin. I don't think I said that right. Detstus no Kami. I'm pretty sure I can't say that right, so I'm just gonna say the three legendary Sanin, okay? So apologies if I can't say it right in the Japanese translation. But we move. Who were among the most powerful shinobi in the world. The Yondaime Hokage was one of them, was one who became his favorite to the point that Naruto considered him as his idol. Aspiring to be like him, Minato Namikaze was apologies, I can't speak. Minato Namikaze, when he was alive, was considered the strongest Hokages and arguably the most dangerous man to have ever graced the world of shinobi, known as the Konoha no Kiro Senko. He was also considered the fastest shinobi to have ever lived. He was famous because he took the Hiraishin no Jutsu, the jutsu used by the Nindame, to levels unheard of. He was the one who single-handedly ended the Third Great Shinobi War, finishing off 1,000 Iwa shinobi by himself in the Battle of the Kanaba Bridge. Iwa shinobi is probably the Hidden Stone Village's shinobi, so that's what I'm guessing. But I could be wrong, so yeah, we move on. Naruto also took note that the Yondaime suspiciously looked very much like him. If he grew up, Naruto compared their physical traits, more specifically those that stood out the most were they were both blonde, the hair color being near identical, with Naruto's a shade brighter, but his eyes were what took him by surprise. Those azure blue shades were what he had as well. Looking back at him in the mirror every day, he became even more suspicious. During one of his outings with his Gigi, came to take him to Ichiraku Ramen that he loved so much. He asked him what it meant to be the Hokage. There will be a flashback right now. There's a flashback right now. So the old man stopped eating and looked at him, his eyes piercing as if searching for something. He then smiled and said, "Perhaps you should ask me first, Naruto." That, what does it mean to be a shin? Okay, let me read that again. Perhaps you should ask me first, Naruto. That, what does it mean to be a shinobi? Quick pause, you guys. I need a water break right now. Okay, we are in the clear. I had my water break and now I'm good. So, Naruto looked surprised for a moment, but recovered and asked, "What does it mean to be a shinobi?" This time Gigi answered, "To be a shinobi means to endure. A shinobi is one who can follow or lead others into any darkness and work together to overcome that darkness and make it out the other side. A shinobi walks towards danger when everyone else is running away. That is because it is his duty of a shinobi to look at any foe and simply say, 'Bring it.' That is because shinobi exist to protect those who can't protect themselves." Naruto had a look of wonder on his face. He had no idea Gigi was that wise. An answer like that changed Naruto's entire view of a shinobi. At first, he thought that being a shinobi only meant for performing cool jutsus and fighting in the name of your village. He had no idea that the answer would be this deep in meaning. Sarutobi looked at Naruto and mentally smiled. He knew about Naruto's treatment by the villagers and his drive to be Hokage. He mused, "Perhaps I can give him a little insight on what being a Hokage means." Naruto recovered from his wonder and stared at the empty bowl, deep in thought. If this is what being a shinobi meant, then he had a pretty good idea on what being Hokage meant. He was snapped out of his thoughts when Gigi said now that the answer is out of the way. I can tell you what being Hokage before Hiruzen can finish. I know, Gigi. That's what Naruto said, replying. Those words stopped Hiruzen in his tracks, his head tilting toward in curiosity. You know what, Naruto? Naruto looked up, understanding and respect in his eyes. Hiruzen was touched at the respect he was receiving from Naruto, but his curiosity was increasing. What being, what? What does being Hokage mean? Hiruzen asked curiously. Hiruzen stared at him, silently asking him to continue. Naruto spoke up. The Hokage is responsible for everything in his village. It is his responsibility to protect everyone here and to make sure that they are safe and happy with their village. He intends to oh my goodness, I can't really speak. What is my Oh my goodness, I apologize. Right now I am struggling right now. He intends to finance he intends to what? Okay, I'm just gonna say I'm just gonna skip that part. Okay, you can read that part in the book right now. Well, in Wattpad if you want, but I'm gonna skip that part because I cannot read. My mind is legit going nuts, so I'm just gonna skip. So, the rules, the daily events, everything, he controls every single ninja who bears a leaf headband and basically directs when they live and die. This job is not for the faint of heart and only for someone who loves his village deeply. At the end of his answer, he was staring at his bowl. Hiruzen was shocked at the understanding Naruto showed of the position of Hokage. He had no idea that Naruto was this perspective and knowledgeable. Taiuchi and Ayame had stopped working as well, staring at the blonde with wide eyes, along with the Hokage. It was simply unheard of. A 5-year-old showing such deep understanding of something most people don't understand until much later in their life. Hiruzen was shocked, so much that he didn't even notice his jaw was hanging a bit. Such a deep, oh my goodness, bro, I can't. Okay, let me read that again. Such a deep perception and insight at such a young age, he thought, with wonder. Only one person had showed such understanding like this, and he too was 3 years old. 3 years older. Itachi Uchiha was a prodigy among the likes of Kakashi Hatake and Minato Namikaze. Such a shame he was now a missing nin. Naruto looked up when he felt a hand on his shoulder. Gigi was looking at him with a strange expression. That is exactly what being Hokage means, Naruto. A challenging smile broke out of Naruto's face, and he declared, Then I will become Hokage someday, Gigi. And not just any Hokage, I'll be the strongest. There will be. And Hiruzen chuckled, which soon turned into a laughter. The father and daughter on the other side of the counter also smiling fondly. Naruto frowned. What? I'm serious. He was a little hurt. Then Gigi saw the declaration as a joke. Hiruzen soon calmed down, smiling fondly at the boy. He remembered another Uzumaki who used to say the same thing, but he had a strong feeling that Naruto would be right. He ruffled Naruto's head. I know, Naruto. I have no doubt you will. Well, I guess I'll be ending it off here. So if you guys want to continue, remember to hit the like goal of over 5 likes to continue this, okay? 5 likes to continue this. But without further ado, I'll see you guys on the next what if scenario. Peace.